Uh, I swear sometimes it gets to me at times when I'm trying to get something fun going on and then everything else goes hell in a handbasket. Weaver John C. Rosamond, California. How the hell are you doing? It's still Monday. It's still the 29th of March, 2021. And already this year is still trying to project that it's still there and it's still in charge and a hell break loose besides anything else happening. But this is what happens in life. Gets cords around all over the damn place. I prefer using a bit of Wi-Fi. The problem is sound quality sucks in the damn thing, so I got this damn thing hiding all over me here. It's alive. It's alive. When you get these newfangled devices out here, they come all tangled up. The wires so used to being with each other that it's hard as hell to get these damn things untangled. And then by the time you get them untangled, they're tangling back up again on their own. That's because of the way the wires were conditioned in the first place. Instead of talking about something fun, I'm talking about something driving me crazy here, which is wires. You ever came across a book by Tennessee Williams, or at least a play? Maybe you watched those old movies. You gotta love these books when they come out and all these damn reviews coming in here. Different people trying to talk about these books. Streetcar Called Desire, written by Tennessee Williams back in 1947. Published by the University of the South. Copyrighted. I wrote this wonderful play, turned into a movie a few years later. Marlon Brando and Vivian Leigh in it. Heavy, heavy movie. But I prefer dealing with the stage plays that they keep coming out with because sometimes the flavor changes sometimes. But even seeing this as it is, a streetcar called Desire, doing this particular book in a English literature class of American classics. Well, if anyone hasn't seen the movie or hadn't gone Googling it or YouTube the thing, 1 second. Well, I sure as hell didn't want to blast out your eardrums that way. Wow! What a blast. Especially when the nose gets irritated. Not by chemical addictions or not by emotional, but by an allergen. But imagine the allergens or reactions one gets when one happens to see a stage play like this. And the thing is, what you have to bring to it is context and perspective. You don't have that, then you probably can enjoy the movie a hell of a lot better. And like, oh, wow, that's a good movie. It was good performances, heavy-headed. The only problem is, if you actually understand some of the elements of the damn book or the play, it gets even worse. Now, when you're talking about an abusive relationship at this point over here, and you're dealing with a lifestyle change, and another person still trying to deal with their own lifestyle, and see someone coming into their lives who hopefully not to disrupt it, but definitely brings disruption. And she's not quite sure what to deal with her own self. You have other outside supporting characters, yes, but a main debutante coming in who's lost everything in her life. She's used to a lot of things. She's claims she's coming from one particular portion of the South and heading into the quarter. New Orleans. She's lost everything, including her mind. Dealing with alcohol. Dealing with insanity. Dealing with a hell of a bunch of lies and stories and everything else going on. Sometimes you had to feel sorry for the character because that's how she was written. And all throughout the story, she's losing her mind, losing stories left and right, and trying to feel like she's all important, and she's still good looking, and she's an aging debutante who can't understand time steals away all youth and everything else that makes you attractive, no matter how much goops or glaps or gleeps or expensive clothing or perfume or whatever the hell it is. Even if they have to keep working out. The thing is, time steals youth. You're bone youthful, but you also have a time clock kicking, ticking away and stealing away what precious time you have left, and you don't know how much time we have left. Compare this to a movie of Logan's Run, or actually the book written a long time ago, back in the 70s, and they made it into a movie. And then they tried a short-term series for about one season. That was about it. I wish they kept it. I wish they brought it back. It would have been something to see. You have born with a life clock in your hand, and it's taken down, and especially when it turns into a blinking red thing, you're in danger. Now you're going to be either renewed or you're going to be exterminated. Take your pick. Doesn't matter, you're going to get killed anyway because the life clock tells you that once you hit 30, you're fucked. And youth enjoy everything else they can. Pleasure is under the sun. Because that's all they got to live for is pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. And then after that, they get to be renewed back into something else again. Of course, they're all damn clones. Logan 5, Logan 6, Jessica, Merriweather, Pete, whatever the hell he has. Andrew, whatever the hell they got. Now, how is this compared into the movie of a Streetcar Called Desire? Because we're dealing with an aging debutante from a place where she actually had money and wealth, eaten up alive by all the people dying around her, and the inheritance being used to pay off the damn bills of the place, and all the cremations, funerals, and burials, and everything else. And by the time she's unfortunately done with it, she's got nothing left. She doesn't even have her youth. It'd freak her out if she actually found a gray strand of hair in there somewhere in her head. So at this point, she's trying to act like she's all pretty and good looking. And she tries to watch her figure, but the problem is, can't be watching that much. The way she keeps going throughout the damn bottles left and right and trying to feel expansive and natural and worn and everything else going on with her. So yes, the movie is harsher and the play is just as worse. Because now we're dealing with a person who has to deal with her lifestyle changes. She don't like it. Fooled around with a younger person a long time ago, and she told him that after getting married to the guy was the worst mistake she ever made. The guy got up and committed suicide on her. She was trying to sound so flippant about the damn thing. She wasn't even careful what the hell she was talking about to her new husband. She just became a new widow. Talking about Black Widow. And it also started to affect her down the road. She starts losing her relatives one by one. Actually, the ones that actually had the money for her plantation, the Belle Revue, or something like that. Got that screwed up somewhere. This particular place is supposed to be where aristocrats, not cats, crats, sorry Disney, exist and try to keep up with the charms of the South of luxury and money and property and prestige and ego and everything else that goes along with the damn thing. She loses it all, loses her mind. Theoretically, she was supposed to have been a school teacher, but apparently the principal had enough with her, kicked her ass out. Well, this is what happens when you have an older woman messing around with a younger kid. William certainly had spot-on observations. And talking about that in the Deep South is hard enough as it is. But then somewhere in the books or in a place, he was talking about a male and a male, not a male and a female. That was the killer thing, I guess, that caused the breakup and the suicide. She mentioned that to her husband, the young man in her story when she was young, who committed the gunshot. So she's got to deal with that memory, and she also has to deal with the other memories of fooling around with other younger people. As she gets older, she's trying to fool around with more younger people, trying to feel like she's more and more important. She's still beautiful. Holds on to the image. And she uses a bathroom constantly as a hideout because she don't want to see reality. Everybody catered to her because that's what she was used to. So she uses her sister like crazy. Her sister just consider her as eccentric and delicate. No, spoiled brat, actually. Spoiled brat. She can't accept reality at this point over here. Her sister left that lifestyle, wanted to live life as a reality check. And as a reality check, she married an animal. Yeah, I covered up the mouth, didn't I, on this one here? An animal named of Stanley Kowalski, or something like that. A character that Tennessee wrote. Stella Dubois became Stella the animal's wife. Treated her like a piece of meat. Now, it was rumored somewhere, either in the critics or in the play, or even in the story, that the backstory on old Stanley was he was a war vet. I can't confirm or deny it. I still haven't been able to research that far in a damn thing. That's what I've been heard. And if the character was supposed to be a war vet, then I can understand about the PTSD situation here. But what I can't understand is the treatment. Correction. Put a three-letter word in front of that treatment. Mistreatment. Of a woman. You don't treat her like a lady, you treat her like a piece of meat. So throwing meat at her is basically an insult of all sorts. She don't mind it because he loves her and she loves him. God. You know, you're talking about domestic abuse left and right at this point over here, and I haven't written anything about that situation over there. But man, I should have been putting that in my damn paperwork when I sent it over to the instructor earlier this evening. Because Stanley is such an animal at this point over here, Blanche can't even understand why. And I should have been writing more and more concerning about the situation. I guess it looks like I've got more and more of a resubmission to do before I turn in for the night. Because it has to be known and it has to be made into an updated review at this point that Stanley is basically using Stella. And Stella is a domestic violent victim. Spousal abuse, domestic abuse, and every other kind of abuse. And when Stanley gets drunk, I don't care, he's a fucking alcoholic. It's a hell of a lot to write about. It's a hell of a lot to talk about, especially when I'm dealing with other teenagers. Other kids in there. One of which thinks he has, or she has, experience with alcoholism. Well, I guess they're going to be expecting me to talk about that one tomorrow, or Wednesday on it, when the class goes. But the thing of it is, I've been dealing with a hell of a lot of alcoholism throughout the books my professor keeps showing us. Huckleberry Finn wasn't one of them, but it was dealing with racism and slavery. Greg Gatsby, alcohol, left to right. Only with an immature brat doing alcoholic things. A dry drunk, but he still had all the damn tendencies. You think alcoholic, you drink. Not all the time. And not when it's being observed either. You'd be surprised how many closet drunks are out there in the first place and try to function as normal. Orange juice. Not alcohol, thank God. No, it's not spiked either. Except if I happen to get any fruit punch Gatorade, and it'll spike the damn thing. Dealing with Blanche Dubois, seeing her disintegration slowly. Stanley being the most brutal, honest character in the story, sees it how it is. through his own eyesight, his own viewpoints. He doesn't take anything for granted. He is the most paranoid, controlling type A personality you've ever seen. She's attracted to the animalism. He's attracted to her. And they're both scoffing and snuffing and snorting at each other until she's in the lowest point of her life. And that's when he strikes, and he struck hard. And then nearly at the end of the play, just about at the end of the play, she's showing up totally broken. It takes a shrink with a hand out. Treat her like a lady. She responds, I have always responded to the kindness of strangers. The most memorable line out there in history. Oh, movie history anyway. In seeing this, I was seeing brutality, I was seeing alcoholism, woman abusing, and I kept asking myself, why the hell did the professor pick this shit in the first place? Because it's pushing buttons left and right. And I had thanked the professor for pushing those buttons left and right, because in a book like this, it's hard for even students to grasp the concepts and the context of it, or even have a perspective of it, because if they've grown up in an environment like that of an abused family, they would know. But if they haven't, they're seeing it, and it gives them a form of perspective right there. But to come out of one like that gives the book more credence, more clarity. I was fortunate my mother had never been in a situation. I never had a father like that, and I had a brother who was a pain in the ass, smart ass, and after serving a term in the military, came out as an asshole, and a drunk, and a drug abuser. And it had taken a lot of strong will to tell him to get the hell out of the home and don't come back. 3 months later, he did come back as a damn skeleton. And we took him back and we gave him an alternative. Either you get sober or you're out the streets permanent. And my brother passed away 2018, 32 years clean and sober. I think Tennessee Williams would have been able to write a story about that one. Family undergoing constant struggle at that point over there. Even my mother was not immune to the ravages of whatever kind of mental health illness our family line had shared like crazy. Even I have. Even I am under that. Looking at my girth and knowing my past. So yes, I would recognize some of the things in the book and try to figure it out that, yes, those things are identifying with me because I'm feeling the stress and the strain and the pressure, and I'm feeling the antsy. In fact, talking about it still makes me antsy as hell. I'm scratching the living crap out of myself. It's like my body's starting to develop itches over here because the book is that powerful. Because it's bringing up the imagery my subconscious is manifesting into a conscious activity for my body to go nuts on. I know, throw it into psychological terminology at this point over here. It's things you pick up in life. It's a hell of a book to read. It's a powerful movie to see. And even the plays are very disturbing. But they are well done. I had to get this off my chest because if I didn't, I don't think I'd be able to sleep tonight. So back at the keyboard I go.